So, for the 35th anniversary for Sonic the Hedgehog, they have announced a podcast for the Chaotix Case Files, which is a podcast series, a narrative podcast series. Um, or I don't know if it's a narrative, but it's a podcast series focused around the Chaotix Detective Agency. And I'm very excited for it because, one, I don't know if you guys know, I'm a Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. And one of my favorite characters from the video game series is Vector the Crocodile. He's a detective and he's a pretty good one. And I've been excited for this because I wanted to, and I hope that there's a good mystery uh, revolving the series of the events here for the Chaotix case files, and I wanted to investigate it. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, as I was preparing for this recording, episode one drops. As I'm preparing for the recording that I was going to do for episode zero, me investigating and going over the information in the episode zero episode, and episode one drops. So I suppose I will react first time reaction to the case files, episode one. Though I've watched episode zero through Sam Procrastinate's stream yesterday, and I've been going over it a few times because I wanted to get a handle of the situation at hand so I can solve the mystery um, by the end of the series or by the time of the case's conclusion. So I've been going over it a few times, and I wanted to go over what my findings are, my thoughts, things like that, and share with you guys what I think, so we can come to a conclusion together before the conclusion of the case. So I want to go over that, and I suppose I'll just go over episode one right after that. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So already we hear chaotics in a way as if it was part of a song or jingle or something like that. So we know we're going to get specialized music for this series, which I would expect from the Sonic the Hedgehog series, which is known for its amazing music, and it's music that is special to the games and content that it's accompanying. So that's nice.
In a world where I, Vector the Crocodile, have been practicing this awesome hard-boiled detective voice in the bathroom, one group of brave private investigators is about to make a difference.
Vector? Who are you talking to in there?
No one, Espio. I just had the radio on.
Okay.
Privacy's hard to come by for a dedicated gumshoe, especially for a charismatic, hard-working crocodile such as yours truly, and the moodiest.
I just want to point out that at the beginning here, we hear that he's talking. We know that he's talking to himself. He's saying he's practicing his narration voice. Fine, but there's a few things to know here when he's saying that. First, uh, it doesn't seem like he's using the bathroom, like the toilet, but it seems like he's using the sink for some reason. You can hear the here. It sounds like the stereotypical. I don't know what makes that squeaking sound exactly, but when you turn on the faucet of a sink, especially in a noir setting for a detective story, it makes that squeaking noise and you hear rushing water. That's what I'm hearing, and we heard that later on as well. I just thought that was interesting to know. I wonder what he was doing. If he was practicing his narration voice, I wonder if he was doing with the water on.
In a world we're out to make a difference.
Vector?
That's another interesting point here.
Hard-boiled detective voice in the bathroom. One group of brave private investigators is about to make a difference.
So he's saying he's practicing his narration voice. I wonder if that suggests that he was at this point thinking about doing a podcast in which he will narrate over it, use his voice to narrate over it. But also, he says that the detectives here that he's referring to himself and the other detectives are about to make a difference. When you say about to make a difference, it makes it seem as though something's going to happen quite soon. So that is interesting. I wonder what makes him think that he's going to have a case soon. or he's just role playing, meaning that he's practicing his narration voice, and obviously, when he's narrating over the story, he'll be an omniscient person, um, omniscient narrator. Not sure if that's the proper term to use, but he knows what's going to happen in the story. So he knows when something's going to happen soon, or he's narrating as if he knows what's going to happen. So therefore, if he were role playing as he is now, practicing the voice, he's just saying that something might happen soon. But keep that in mind because that might be important later, for another reason.
Vector? Who are you talking to in there?
No one, Espio. I just had the radio on.
Okay.
Privacy's hard to come by for a dedicated gumshoe, especially for a charismatic, hard-working crocodile such as yours truly, and a moody, aspiring ninja chameleon named Espio, and an eager young bee, stinger and all.
He called himself charismatic, so he sees himself as charismatic and hardworking, I believe he said. But this is interesting. Listen to the rest of these descriptions he gives.
Dedicated gumshoe, especially for a charismatic, hard-working crocodile such as yours truly, and a moody, aspiring ninja chameleon.
A moody, aspiring ninja chameleon. Now, aspiring, I believe, means that you go out of your way to become something, meaning you're working to become something, if I'm not mistaken. So if he's a moody aspiring, does that mean he goes out of his way? Does that mean he goes out of his way to be moody? Um, is that what he means by saying moody aspiring ninja chameleon?
Named Espio, and an eager young bee, stinger and all. That's
Charming being, as we know him, young and eager, yes.
charming. He keeps us on our toes. But that's what the Chaotix Detective Agency is. Three valiant souls doing their best to fight crime and counter injustice in the unforgiving concrete canyons of the cold, naked city.
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack there. So, he gives us an idea if he's telling the truth about, with his narration right now, if he's telling the truth about their circumstance, which he gave, I suppose, proper descriptions to the people who are a part of the detective agency, the Chaotic Detective Agency. If he's also talking rightfully about his city, well, he calls it well, let's break it down here.
Three valiant souls doing their
Three valiant souls. First, let's look into that. Possessing or showing courage or determination. So he's saying three people who are showing courage or determination.
Three valiant souls doing their best to fight crime and counter injustice in the unforgiving concrete canyons of the cold, naked city.
So we know this is a group that focuses on fighting against essentially what people might considering the bad things. So crime, injustice, things like that. But he also calls it the city that in which they operate in. He calls it the concrete canyons. So the concrete canyons. What are concrete canyons? What defines concrete canyon? So a space or street surrounded by skyscrapers, a narrow street circuit surrounded by concrete walls. So a space or street surrounded by skyscrapers. Now, when you look at a canyon, let's go to images. You see this. And this is what I imagine when I see a canyon. So, obviously, when they say a concrete canyon, they mean like the skyscrapers make up the big walls of rock that surround the space where people walk, or like you see the rivers here, or the streets, things like that of a canyon. So, a concrete canyon is referring to that of the cold, naked city, I believe they say. Now, they say cold and naked. Which means his own thing. But let's take it back a little bit. They call it unforgiving. Unforgiving usually means that there's no room for error. So, like, if it's unforgiving, it means it's harsh. It's not very good for somebody who doesn't have much experience or knowledge to handle what's going on. So, if it's unforgiving, it means that you're in a in a bad place in which you can't really afford to make mistakes. So for it to have an unforgiving concrete canyon city, it means that you have a city that has concrete canyons, so a lot of skyscrapers, a space surrounded by skyscrapers, and it's a pretty harsh city. That much is what he's telling. See, now, the city itself doesn't have to be completely filled with skyscrapers. All they're saying here by Vector.
Chaotix Detective Agency is. Three valiant souls doing their best to fight crime and counter injustice in the unforgiving concrete canyons of the cold, naked city.
They're just saying that they're operating within the concrete canyons of a cold city, of the cold city. However, the entire city doesn't have to be a skyscraper filled place. So, you can have a large chunk of the city filled with skyscrapers, with space in between, with the people, its businesses, and things like that. But you might have another part of the city where it's barren and not much going on. It doesn't say that the entire city is filled with skyscrapers. The city has a section or an area in which the skyscrapers are, is where they do operate within, where there's crime and injustice. Now he calls it the cold and naked city. Cold meaning, if he's speaking metaphorically, he means cold-hearted. So there's a lot of corruption, evil, wickedness, things like that going on. People who are scamming, stuff like that. Naked being that it's clear. When someone is naked, when it's bare, it means that it's obvious. It's seen quite easily. It's obvious for what it is. Like Gotham. When you see Gotham, you know what it is. And it's not really good at hiding it. It's pretty open about it, right? But that's the thing about it. When you live in a city like that and you're committing crime in a city like that, if people expect bad from you, in order for a criminal to succeed in criminal dealings, they have to be clever. If you are a civilian who isn't a bad person or is just trying to get by, then you're going to be wary at all times in the kind of city that Vector's describing where they do business in. You're going to be on guard all the time. So, in order for a person to scam somebody like that, or to hurt them in some way, or get something out of it, take advantage of them, whatever, they have to be pretty cunning. So, if you have cunning criminals, you need a cunning counter to stop those criminals. And that is what I suppose is supposed to be the Chaotix Detective Agency. So that is an interesting way how he describes the city, and I just wanted to go over that because I think that's really interesting. It actually fits the kind of style they're going for here, which is the noir detective style. And he calls himself a hard-boiled detective. Hard-boiled detectives are cynical, streetwise, and often morally ambiguous private investigators, typically operating in gritty urban settings filled with corruption. As he describes his city matches the kind of setting that a hard-boiled detective would be in.
Cold, naked city. Hey, that was pretty good. I should be writing this down. We are
So we get a confirmation here that he is in fact talking to himself while in the bathroom. If you remember earlier, he says here,
practicing this awesome, hard-boiled detective voice in the bathroom. One group of brave private investigators is about to make a difference.
is about to make a difference. Now, if he's just role playing for the sake of um him thinking that he'll do a podcast, narrating a podcast in the future, that's all fine and good. He's just role playing, having fun, and mixing it a bit with the things that are actually happening. So he's mixing fact with fiction, to really practice his narrating voice. However, if he were just speaking seriously and he was only using fact, then it's interesting that he says that they're about to make a difference because he's because he's saying that something's about to happen, so he has reason to believe that something's going to happen. Think about what he said earlier. He said that he feels like there's the calm before the storm, like something is going to happen. He hadn't heard from Eggman for a while, and he feels like something is creeping up. What if he actually felt that way, and that's why he narrated to himself that the detective agency is going to get involved in something and therefore they're going to make a difference. Now I think I'm looking too much into it, but I just find that interesting to look at it that way as well. Though it's probably just him role playing and adding a bit of something that's actually happening, reality, and the role play, the fiction together as time goes on. That's probably what it is. But I just think it was interesting to look at it that way. So let's just continue.
Some of us might like to listen to the radio too, you know.
Sorry, Charmy. I'll be right out. And with that, I left the bathroom and entered the rustic yet humble yet understated office of the Chaotix Detective Agency. When you live for your work, you might as well live in your workplace, saving innocence while saving on rent. My trusty desk overflowing with paperwork. SBO the chameleon in the corner, throwing kunai bullseyes at our dartboard. And the young Charmy bee, staring at me with a confused expression.
Victor, why are you explaining everything that's going on in that weird voice?
Oh, wait. That was out loud? Do me a favor, kid. If you ever notice me doing that again, just ignore it.
Okay.
So that also gives us a clue into Vector's character. So when he gets involved in something, he can get so involved in it that he doesn't realize some things that he's doing. So he was so interested in doing his narration practice that he wasn't thinking about the fact that he was speaking out loud. Um, Especially since he tried to hide it earlier with SBO. So it shows that he's clearly not trying to be open about it. Yet he's speaking out loud. That tells us his mindset. So that is an interesting thing to think about.
Huh? Someone's at our front door? Welcome to the Chaotix Detective Agency. Oh, hi, Sonic! It's so great to see you!
Well, if it isn't Sonic the Hedgehog, the fastest thing alive and world rescuer umpteen times over. What brings you to our humble office?
I like how he. I like how, so with detectives, they like to have either files on different people or just have a good understanding of the people they came across in the past. So they kind of like, it's kind of like having a file on somebody. And if you need that file at some point to give information to somebody else or to just refer to it to remember it, it's there. And even though anybody who knows Sonic can probably describe him as the fastest thing alive, and that he's a hero and has saved the world and people many times, I find it nice to hear Vector say it in the way he did because I really do like that in the detective, one who keeps information on people, and it felt like it was kind of like pulling out a file and going over the information that you have on somebody. So I do like that. And I do like the music that's playing in the background. You can already tell, I noticed this immediately, that the first time I heard it was the Green Hill Zone music in the background in a way I don't think I've heard it before. So that's nice.
Now, believe it or not, I've got a few minutes to spare.
You?
I know, SBO, I know. This never happens. Except today, it has. So, I wanted to see if you guys had any open cases I could lend you a hand with.
Well,
Oh, still no clients, huh?
we're taking time to regroup, shore up our infrastructure, get back to our core principles.
Yeah, so no clients.
Nada.
Zilch!
Okay, well, in that case, I'll be, Huh.
You, feeling okay, Sonic?
Yeah, I'm fine, Vector, but something's off. Like there's danger right around the corner. Huh. Oh well, by the way, there's a big mysterious package out here for you.
It's addressed to us?
Yeah, looks like it. Ha! Case of the mystery package solved. See ya!
Bye, Sonic!
Someone mentioned in the comment section of this video here that Sonic has his danger sense. Now, if you don't know what they're referring to, um, I don't know where it was exactly. It might have been in the manual for Sonic CD. I'm not really sure, but apparently Sonic has a sense where if he's when he sneezes, it is usually a sign to him or a sign that there's danger to come. Um, don't know if that's exactly what was going on here because they didn't really show any sign of him sneezing. He just said that he just noticed something was off. Um, but well, I mean, I'm not sure that's exactly what it is, but it is something that's nice to think about. I wonder if they'll ever bring that into the future of the video games for Sonic the Hedgehog. But it is interesting that he is able to sense danger. Don't know what it's related to, but it is interesting though. Remember, Vector was talking about how there's the calm before the storm, and that he had a feeling that something was coming. Essentially, he was pretty much insinuating that. So Vector is sensing something, and now Sonic is sensing something too. Could be related to this package for Sonic, as he is an adventurer who deals with a lot of danger, so he does have a good sense of danger at this point. Um, I don't know what you want to call that, but it's a subconscious feeling. When you experience something so many times, you just kind of notice the signs without even being conscious of it. As an adventurer who's dealt with a lot of dangerous situations, he definitely will know danger when it's coming, just from the subconscious the clues that come to him and develop in his subconscious to understand it. So it's not unlikely for someone like Sonic to have that kind of sense, even if it isn't the sneezing sense that people, or the one comment that I saw might be referring to. But Vector's also thinking that there's something might be coming up as well. So it's interesting that they both have that feeling today, on the day of the events that we're listening in on right now.
Oh, somebody sent us a present.
Let me see that. This package is heavy. What do you think, SPO?
I think it might as well have from Dr. Eggman stamped on it.
Yeah. The last I heard, he was pretty peeved that we recovered all those flickies that he stole in the first place. It'd be just like that mustachioed weirdo to hold a grudge.
You'd think he could find a better energy source for his badniks than flickies. Poor cute little birdies.
Yeah, but what if the package isn't from Eggman? What if it's a gift from a satisfied client?
Have we had any of those?
Hey!
This I don't like SBO saying this because, well, it really depends on when this takes place. Now I'm sure most Sonic fans are assuming that this is the present, meaning post Sonic Frontiers, but the IDW comics are canon. Now, I don't think this is the only case of it. However, the Chaotix Detective Agency, they are actually quite competent, and there seems to be a misconception about them being useless, or they fail often and things like that, which they may fail sometimes, or they might make mistakes rather, but they are actually quite competent. If you play Sonic Heroes, you will find that they are quite competent. If you read the IDW comics, which are canon to the Sonic the Hedgehog video games, they are very competent. Especially, I believe at the end of Sonic Forces events, which is the beginning of the IDW comics, they helped a lot of the citizens find people who they lost contact with, things like that. Missing persons, stuff like that, through uh, which were after the events of the war that was happening in Sonic Forces. But like I said, they are actually quite competent, and I know they solved many cases. I know they solved plenty of cases. I've seen them solve plenty of cases. So to say, for SB to say that do we have any satisfied clients or whatever, it's just like, I mean, yeah, you definitely have. I've seen it happen. Now, I don't know when this happened. Not sure what point of the canon of Sonic this takes place, but he did mention how after several wars, which could refer several wars and a dimension shifting bad guys, like encounters with those people, Eggman has been quiet. Now, I'm not exactly sure who he's referring to when he says dimension shifting bad guys, plural, because, well, if he's referring to the end from Sonic Frontiers, it did in fact shift from dimensions, but that's just one bad guy. What other bad guy has been shifting between dimensions, unless you want to mention something from, oh, I don't know. Well, I'm not exactly sure. What other bad guy would you refer to as shifting between from one dimension to another, but dimension shifting, but whatever the case, unless he means it metaphorically, as in like it shakes the world. For instance, saying shake the world, it doesn't mean you're literally shaking the world, it just means that you're causing a ruckus. But that is affecting the world in an emotional or maybe a physical state. But whatever the case, I'm not sure exactly when this takes place, but if he's talking about after Forces, which is before Sonic Frontiers, or if he's referring to the IDW comics about, I don't know if you want to call the metal virus a war per se. It's really it's like an apocalyptic situation. I'm not sure you call it a war. And I have read the IDW comics, but not up to current, so I don't know what else is going on. But if you could take that phrase of him saying that and after several wars and facing, oh, and their involvement with the Eggman's involvement with dimension shifting bad guys or whatever. Um, Eggman's been quiet since then. If you can take those lines and fit this story's events somewhere in the canon, let me know in the comment section because I'm not exactly sure right now. But regardless, I think they've solved plenty of cases and had a lot of successful clients. So I don't know. For SPO to say that is just like,
I'm gonna open it.
Charming, wait, we don't know what's in there.
Look out! It's a buzz bomber!
It was indeed a buzz bomber, one of Eggman's robots, like an angry jet-powered wasp. One too many direct hits from its laser blasts, and it's lights out.
Kunai fly!
Look out! I'll use my stinger. Wow, this one's tough.
Not as tough as my jaws!
Oh wow, you chomped its face off.
He sure did.
Charmy, have we learned a lesson?
Never accept gifts from Sonic.
We'll come back to that. Hey, since we did just defeat a badnik, who wants celebratory ice cream? It's been too long since I've had some frozen bubblegum flavored goodness.
Ooh, me, I do.
I guess it is warm out.
Well, that
Wait
was
to get ice
nicely
cream.
done.
What kind are you gonna get,
Lord's
SPO?
Pretty sure I'm lactose intolerant.
so that's interesting. Well, one, well, SPO saying I'm pretty sure I'm lactose intolerant. Like what? Like is he not sure of that himself? I think Charmy asked SPO what he was getting. Well, anyway, also I like how Vector mentioned the fact that he wanted to try bubblegum flavored ice cream, and if you remember in Sonic Heroes, he used to chew bubblegum, and that was his way of gliding and I think attacking to some extent. I think he attacked with his bubblegum as well in some way. Now, this is what's really interesting. It seems that they are accepting that this is an attack by Eggman, but I'm not really sure if it is. Now, the reason I say that is because, well, okay. It seemed they accepted, by the way, because they said that Eggman is a likely person that it will come from. SBO says that it might as well have Eggman's symbol or name stamped on it or whatever. And Vector mentions that they foiled one of the plans of Dr. Eggman, but not necessarily foiling Eggman's plan as if he were there, but they rescued the Flickies that Eggman had captured. Now, I'm not sure if it was a direct confrontation with Eggman because you can rescue Flickies even though Eggman's not there. Like think like Sonic Lost World. Eggman takes the Flickies and locks them up, but Sonic is able to release the Flickies because they were spread around the world. For whatever reason, Eggman has them in different places um, across the lands. Maybe for I don't know, maybe for supply reasons or whatever. I'm not really sure, but you can save them despite that. Despite Eggman not being there, you know. They did say that they found out that Eggman was peeved because of it, um, that they heard that. So it sounds like it wasn't them confronting Eggman directly, that they only heard after saving the Flickies without Eggman actually being there, that they heard Eggman was upset about it. If they heard that from somebody, then that means they weren't just taking they don't know that he's upset about it from a direct confrontation, but their confrontation with Eggman was indirect. Well, actually, it's not even indirect. It's more like, well, Eggman just simply wasn't there. They just dealt with one of Eggman's plans. Eggman wasn't there, and later on they found out that Eggman was upset about it. So they believe that Eggman might be responsible for this. Now, okay, fine. The thing is that I'm not sure if this is Eggman doing this. Now, because think about it like this. Eggman is the kind of person, knowing Eggman's personality, Eggman is he goes about things in his plans a few different ways, a couple different ways really I can think of. Think like in Sonic Unleashed, where he's tricky. He likes to trick people, and that's the kind of person he is. He will play the fool for a short time in order to get one up over someone. He's very cunning, clever that way. Think in Sonic Unleashed, where he got Sonic to lower his guard so that he can put him into his machine to suck the chaos thermals and energies out of Sonic, right? Think about it like that. He begged Sonic to leave him be, that he'll change his ways, things like that. Eggman is cunning like that. He has no problem playing the fool for a short time or so, or for some period of time, so his plans can work. And sometimes Eggman is direct about what he wants to do. Think about the end in Sonic Frontiers, when the end was going to, well, pretty much continue where he left off, or continue where it left off after, right before being imprisoned. Eggman didn't like that oppression over him in the world that he seeks to take over, so he was ready to call the Egg Fleet to take it down. There was no trickery there though, because Eggman, well, for whatever reason, Eggman didn't want to stay to the end or try to contact the end and try to work with them and maybe betray him in the future or work with them long term, whatever the case. There was no trickery there in that case. It was just simply, I don't want this thing oppressing or taking over what's mine or trying to destroy me, whatever the case, I'm going to destroy it. Eggman could be open about what he wants to do, and he can be tricky. Sometimes he's open and tricky. He was open about his attack against Sonic, I suppose, in Sonic Unleashed's opening, and then he decided to use a trick against Sonic later on. That's the kind of person Eggman is. He has his way of doing things. He's very he's cunning and he'll do what he needs to get what he wants. But sometimes he's open about it and he's aggressive. And sometimes depending on the situation, Eggman is one way or the other. Now, in this situation, what strikes me as odd is that to send the package, and judging by what Sonic said, that there was nothing really much. Wasn't really anything remarkable about the package and the fact that it being addressed to the Chaotix Detective Agency, other than that it was just addressed to the Chaotix Detective Agency. It wasn't. There wasn't. It doesn't seem to be a note that said, "I'm a client that you helped in the past. Um, I want to keep my identity secret," or someone could use the name of that person. There was no trickery to it. It was just the person sent an anonymous and seemingly, and which called it an ominous feeling to the detectives who received it, putting them on their guard. Now, Charmy rushed into things, but Espio and Vector, had they had complete control over the situation, then they would have been ready for the Buzz Bomber sooner. Or, well, they would have been ready for it in general. It's sending the package in the way that the person sent it, the way they did, only put the detectives on their guard. And you definitely wouldn't want that for something as weak as a buzz bomber. Now, the buzz bomber was giving them a bit of trouble. But that may have been because of the spacing that they had in the office, and because they were a bit surprised, because Charmy opened it the way he did. But had they had complete control over the situation and maintained their guard, which they kind of did, it definitely wouldn't have been a problem, and it wasn't that much of a problem now. It seemed like it was a mild inconvenience. So are we supposed to believe that Eggman, using no trickery in order to put their guards down, like saying that it's from a client, using someone else's name, anything like that, he not only didn't use any trickery, had them get on their guard, and also use something as weak as a buzz bomber, which definitely wouldn't have killed them? It's interesting, no? At IQ 300, mind you. Would Dr. Eggman really do this? I mean, if he wanted to kill them, then he already did a bad job. If he wanted to kill them, he should have just sent a bomb to the house or just bomb it from the outside and they wouldn't even know anything. So maybe if it were really Eggman and he wanted to kill them, then he wouldn't do it this way. Otherwise, even if he were just trying to inconvenience them, he inconvenienced them in a way that they were already prepared for. If he had let their guard down by setting up some plan to make them think that the package was out of goodwill, then it would have put their guard down and inconvenienced them even more, even if it didn't kill them. Yet he just sent it in a way that would have put the detectives' guards up. It's weird. It seems like it doesn't feel like Dr. Eggman. In my opinion, it doesn't feel like Dr. Eggman. So add that to the fact that we do not know that Dr. Eggman is even involved with this. Remember, anybody could be using his gear. We see it happen in Sonic Heroes, Metal Sonic. Someone can gain control of his troops, his robots, and all that, and his face even, and pretend that they're Eggman. Just because Eggman's machine is there doesn't mean it was him who has sent it. If my car was found at a scene of a hit and run, or rather a hit and run happens and my car hits somebody and they find it later on, they can assume it's me, but that would be bad detective work because somebody else could have just stolen my car and used it for the hit and run. Just because it's my car doesn't mean I'm the one who orchestrated the crime. The same as just because the Buzz Bomber was used and is Eggman's creation doesn't mean it must have been Eggman. So as of right now, we do not have reason to believe that Eggman is behind this. And judging by the fact that this doesn't feel like Eggman, whether trying to kill them or trying to cause an inconvenience, it doesn't seem like it's done in a way that I think a scientist with an IQ of 300 will go about it. It seems weird. It doesn't feel like Dr. Eggman. So, and he's not even boasting about it, or he didn't. It doesn't seem that he left any notes or a video thing for them to look at. That hey, you did that to agency. You guys are getting on my nerves, back off, anything like that. It was nothing like that. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that feeling that Eggman brings. It just doesn't have that feeling that Eggman brings when he does his plans. Not to me, at least. So I don't know if Eggman's even evolved. Like I said, he hasn't shown himself, and unless we see him in the flesh, we have no reason to believe that it is for sure Eggman. So that's what I feel about that right now. It could be someone else. So, and I wonder what their aim is. They said that the Charmy said that the Buzz Bomber was a tough one. It could be a different model of the Buzz Bomber, or but they didn't say anything like that. It could have just said that it was a tough one. Charmy could have just said that because its programming was, or maybe not its programming, but the information that it collected in battle could be better than the ones they faced in the past. That could be possible too. Um, and it's not that there's anything different about the model. It's just something that it's just that the robot, the AI, the robot learned and adapted and was a little bit tougher than the ones they faced in the past. It could mean nothing. It could be just him thinking it's tougher because the situation they were in. They were a bit surprised, especially Charmy, who just opened it up eagerly. They were just Charmy was a bit surprised. They had difficulty attacking it in an enclosed space because they were in the detective agency when it happened. So it could just be that, and it isn't really any different. It's just odd.
Little did we suspect that an innocent trip to an ice cream stand would lead us straight into the biggest case of our career. I also didn't suspect that because of this case, I would end up somewhere terrible. Captured by Eggman himself.
Hey!
Okay, so assuming that this isn't an omniscient narrator and Vector's just talking about things that are happening and things that have already happened, um, that was Vector talking about how. So this would be Vector currently locked up, which would be around here.
I also didn't suspect that because of this case,
Right. So went to the ice cream stand or wherever the ice cream is. They got involved in a case while going there, and as he's going to continue here,
I would end up somewhere terrible. Captured by Eggman himself.
Hey! Eggman!
he said captured by Eggman himself. So whatever this case is that came about after going to the ice cream place, he ended up being captured by Eggman. He has reason to believe that he was captured by Eggman. That's a captured vector narrating, assuming that he's still narrating in the present rather than a podcast that has an omniscient narrator. He's already captured at this point of saying what he's saying, and he came across a case at the ice cream stand or the ice cream place, whatever, as he was going there, and he ended up being captured by Eggman, what he believes.
I know you can hear me! Come down and face me man to man!
I think we're both stuck here, Sonic. Not exactly how I planned to spend my weekend. Locked in a prison in a secret Eggman base.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
Okay, so they confirmed that it's a weekend. Assuming that it's all happening in the same day, I guess it's a weekend that all this is happening. That's all fine and good. So they're saying that he's in a secret Eggman base. Okay.
How did we get here? What's going on? Did we ever get any ice cream? All will be revealed in the Chaotix Casefiles.
The Chaotix Casefiles? I can hear the theme music already.
And I listened to this music. It's absolutely amazing. It's expected from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. But if you want to listen to it, go ahead and listen to it. Go to this video and go ahead and listen to that. But those are my thoughts right now. Right now, I'm not sure if Eggman's even involved with this, and they're saying that they're trapped in the Eggman, um, in one of the bases of Eggman, a secret base of Eggman. He says it's secret, which means it's hidden. Does that mean that they went out of their way to find it? Is that what the case was that, or I guess the case was related to? Is them investigating Eggman base, but maybe that's not about the case, but the case has led them to that. Did they go look into an Eggman base for whatever reason? They found out it was they found it. It was a secret run apparently, so that means they had to have been looking for it, or that they came across it in a way that wasn't obvious. It was obviously a secretive place. Like if you walk through the woods not expecting to find a house, but you find a house. So you find a secret house. So you didn't know about it going into the woods, you knew about it only after being in the woods. So did their investigation lead them to finding Eggman's military base, which is a secret one? And thus they were trapped by it, and they believe that Eggman has something to do with it, because it seems by what Sonic said that he didn't say "come back here, Eggman" or anything like that. Just "Eggman, show yourself, and let's face each other, man to man." I believe it says something like that. So that would mean that Eggman hasn't appeared yet, has he? Or at least he's not appearing at the moment.
In the in a secret Eggman base.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
How did we get here?
Hey, Eggman! I know you can hear me! Come down and face me man to man!
I know you can hear me. Come down and face me man to man. Is he saying that he knows that? Is he saying that he knows that Eggman can hear him only because he believes that the trap was set by Eggman, and Eggman must be watching over them in order to set the trap on them if they're being observed? That's why he believes Eggman is evolved, no?
I think we're both stuck here, Sonic.
And it has to do with Eggman's secret base. So they believe Eggman is behind all of this. I don't know, guys. I don't know if Eggman's behind any of this, honestly. Yet. I don't know yet. But the music here is really good. I definitely recommend you guys listening to it. But I'm going to end this one off for now. I know I talked a lot. I'm going to try to talk less in the episode 1. I see that it's 20 something minutes, so I don't want to take that long talking. But I'm just, I just felt like mentioning so many things that I noticed when I was watching it on my own. Um, the first few times when I was watching it, and I just like to talk about it and whatnot. So, though I probably will shorten the video in some way, so it might not even be as long as I'm perceiving it right now. But I'm going to go ahead and end this one here, and I'm gonna react to episode 1. I probably will upload that into another video, like upload that as its own video, or I'll just I'll react to it and record it and put it with this one. I'll see. But thanks guys for watching, and let me know what you guys think about my theories and my observations, things like that. And I'll be really excited to hear what you guys have to say.